in there. I gotta go ahead and add the rest of my sugar, and all of these are gonna go in there. Then on top of that, it's gonna get the flour. So the bread, I put just a little bit of sugar, so it had a nice hint of sugar. This one I want to go with a little bit more sugar because I want this dough to be kind of sweet. Okay, but I don't want it to feel like a cookie, and I know when you do too much sugar and flour, you end up with a cookie kind of thing. So we got our sugar in there, less than a cup, about a half a cup of sugar went in there, which and then my salt. Anything that you're making really sweet, you always want to come back with a little bit of pinch of salt. So my salt's in there with that as well. Then the egg. So I've got my egg. And you don't have to like whip it up. You just basically put your egg in there. Let me see here. I can't see. All right. So then you gotta just go ahead and get your eggs going in there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and give that a little stir. Then remember I'm just stirring this stuff up, all my wet and dry ingredients before I put the flour in there, because then I'm gonna put it out on the counter and I am going to knead the dough. And that is such an amazing feeling because this milk is warm, the yeast is warm, and then it gets in that dough, and it's just a nice sensation. So I'm just kind of stirring that up, as you can see there. Glad you guys can see in there. The angles are brought to you today. The angles in it, taking you into the dish, is brought to you by a streaming partner, Joystick, Joistik. So, no C, Joistik. Go to joystick.com. For your holiday season, you want to get the joystick. I'm using the countertop, tabletop joystick Junior, which it would be a favorite for those family members that you have that love to stream. And on my joystick, I can not only have one great broadcast, I can run up to 3 to 4 broadcasts. I also have a tilt wheel on there, which brings you into the dish. But right now, you're just in my joystick grip, and you can see right into this bowl. If I wanted to be in the shot, I got 2 other tiers that I could go higher, and you can look down into the bowl. So we got a couple of options, only with the Joystick Junior. All right, it makes your hands free and let you be free to stream. Okay, it don't come with that theme song. But anyway, okay, so next, the difference that I'm doing with this today that I didn't do yesterday is we're going to add in a little bit of cinnamon. Because right now it's calling for my butter, but because I am going to do cinnamon rolls, I want a little bit of cinnamon flavor. I'm told we need a little bit of cinnamon flavor, and cinnamon. You know, keep in mind cinnamon can get kind of strong, so I'm just gonna basically go for the aromatic on there. And I don't know, like I didn't even really measure that out. I just know I need a little bit, not a lot, because most of that is gonna go into my actually be spread on the dough, because what's going to happen next is, see, that's kind of strong there, and so what's going to happen next is I'm going to, once my dough proofs and it's ready to roll, I'm going to roll it out, put some butter on that bad boy, then lay down some brown sugar and some cinnamon, and that is going to be the innards of the cinnamon rolls. All right, and lastly, not lastly, but next to the last, is the butter, which my butter, as you can see, my butter is soft. I just hit it off in the microwave just enough not to melt it, but to just kind of go ahead and get it to room temperature with a nice softness. So I'm going to go ahead and break that up in there. And then comes the last thing. So right now, again, a cup of milk I got in there, 1.5 to 2 teaspoons of yeast, depending on what you want your rise to be once you start playing around with that. And I think the yeast varies simply because of the temperature, or you might be on one coast or another coast, north, south, east, and west, in your kitchen, my kitchen. So I think you kind of have to play around with the yeast to figure out what makes the dough rise in your house. Then, of course, we did a little bit of sugar because we wanted a sweet batter. And then we did salt. And as far as, like I said, less than a cup of sugar. And I'm playing, like I said, I'm playing around trying to get a good recipe, so I can't tell you specifically. Then 2 eggs. Some people just use the egg yolks. I like the eggs. I think the egg whites help make the dough fluffy, just hindsight from the 2 different batches that I did. And then your flour. So right now, I've got my measuring cup, and I'm going to go in here with 3 cups of flour. And most of these recipes, I will tell you, they do call for upwards of 4 to 5 cups of flour. I am reducing that down because, like I said, I don't want to make I don't want to make so much. And I'm about out of my flour with all these baking challenges that I have done. So let me just tap that a little bit and get that. So I'm going in with just 3 and 3 for 3 made that nice heaping of and literally that's like at the end, because I think I started out with a 5-pound. That had to be more than a 5-pound. I think that was a 10-pound bag of flour, because I did 2 batches of bread yesterday. That was 6 cups of flour. This is enough 3 cups of flour, and there's still flour in there. And then I made something else. So I don't know. Remind me if that was 3. I think that was 3. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of stir this in. And what's gonna happen next is gonna start to form my ball, and then I'm gonna dump it out on the counter, which I need to get some of this stuff out of the way. Then we're gonna flour our counter, keeping our cinnamon over there. Get the rest of that flour. Then we're going to roll it out and do a little bit of kneading. And that's an intimidating thing, because the first time I was like, ooh, what is this sensation? The second time I felt like a baker. And let me tell you, if you don't do it right the first time, don't be afraid to go back and try it again. You know, maybe you're not doing yours live like I was with all those bloopers in there. But it's something about not quitting. It's something about trying it again the second time. You feel a little bit more experienced on that. And again, because of the ingredients now, this, I may have to add some more flour to it. Like, this is feeling a little wet to me, and I don't know why. I'm trying to think, did I add any other liquid in there? So, which means I might need to go, I might not have measured my flour just right. But I do see that my cinnamon is giving me the color that I wanted. And just get that all mixed in, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to knead it. But as you can see, I didn't get like the ball which I wanted. So I may not have had the right amount of flour. And the good thing about baking is you can always go back in with a little bit more flour. If it's too wet, it means you need more flour. If it's too dry, you need more liquid. So what I'm going to do is just kind of just top that off with a little bit more flour. Let me just sit that there and get that stirred in. And as you can see, I start to get my ball formed. That's what I want. So what I'm going to do again, from hindsight, just from learning, make my room here. All these things will need to get washed. And we're just going to put just another little bit of, and I got on this black shirt. So what I'm going to do now, just sprinkle a little flour on my counter here. Get a little bit on my hands, because I was a baker now. And then I'm just going to bring this out onto the counter here, into this flour. Alrighty then. And yeah, it is sticky, so we're going to definitely need some flour. All right, and again, you're just gonna start folding that in there, and then again, like I said, I got that flour on there with a little bit more flour. And that's why I say, like, you know, it's not exacting, because if I went exacting, I pretty much use exacting what I did yesterday, right? So what's the difference today? Temperature's different today. Kitchen's different today. The time of day I'm doing this. So you see it's kind of wet, but now I'm folding that flour in there. And I like that. I like the consistency of it. And you're just kneading it. And kneading is just folding. Ooh, it talked to me that time. Some gases come up out of there. But then again, remember,